Good morning. It's October the 5th, 2020, and I have a pretty cool psychic forecast for you today. And it sort of has like a, 7 to 10 day window on it, depending on each of us at the individual level. So I'm Laurie King, and I'm a psychic medium, and I'm an intuitive coach. And I'm also a portrait photographer doing some pretty cool, soulful journey work with people. So today's psychic forecast is a general reading. So if you're looking for something that is a little more bespoke to you, exactly where you're at, and you're craving that kind of sort of that sense of, oh my God, and you articulate exactly where I'm at and what I need to hear right now. It's always a sense of familiarness. And if you're craving that, then we should do a proper one-on-one session, and just really dig in. But today I'm drawn to tune into kind of like a big picture of how we're connecting at the physical level, the creative level, the mental level, and the emotional level, and at a level of our place in this world. And always, this information is always based in the intention of how can we come into a better state of balance. So the first message that I receive is, let's be the change that we want to see, right? I mean, it's such a simple but profound message, but it's so appropriate right now. And so that message is, be that wholesome and effective influence in your world, with your people, with your person, with your community, and be that influence, that waveform that goes out into those people, and then through those people outward. It's that right way of being, and we all know how to do that. We all have that inner intelligence about our influence and how we are influencing. And the more we work on our self-awareness in the right way, the more we can sort of do that little soft pivots, editing on what we're going to say before we say it. And this feels really important because one of the things that's coming through at the level of our connection to our identity and our place in this world is that we're ready to actually bring to close, let die, an old, outworn way of trying to communicate what we are perceiving is going on around us, in our inner circle, in the outer circle, and at a sort of global universal level, that we actually need to shift up how we are communicating. And so it's like we need to go through a bit of a mini death, like a metaphorical death in our communication, and then come into something that's new and sharp and even a bit edgy, but not with any kind of a negative or seeking to harm energy at all. It's just fundamentally just the truth. And that saying, the truth will set you free. Sometimes when we speak the truth that we see in the moment, it does free situations and other people very efficiently. And then it doesn't have to be a big drama. It just is. So that's a really big piece that's coming through this week. And I'm not going to try to connect information into current events or, astrological events, or, I really try not to kind of do that sort of cerebral work. I just invite you to connect with what's happening sort of at that nice deep body-mind level, not the mind that thinks it's a body, but the body-mind, and how we energetically are connected to everything. So the next piece I'm looking at goes into the quality of our relationship to the physical material world. So that's the physical body, that's money, that's relationships, that's career. It's kind of all the 3D experience, right? So I'm looking at the quality of that connection. And the first thing that I have here is, so, we all want to sort of really work on cultivating and nurturing our relationship to being in the here and now. In other words, be grounded and centered. But for some people, they don't really get what that means. And what that means is to be really anchored in this moment and present with what you are experiencing so that you can respond from that, not react. And there's a massive difference between responding and reacting. So that's just the first, sorry, my light just went out. That's just that relationship at that level. And so for us to earn the respect of those around us, and it is something we must earn, we have to show up in the right way. And that's about being in the right mindset that enhances everyone around you. And this is from a really humble service mindset where you are really set on an authentic intention to make a difference, to contribute, and not for a secret, hidden, sort of codependent, dysfunctional agenda of pleasing people or seeking approval or seeking some kind of acknowledgement. So get really clean with yourself before you actually move into trying to make a difference. Make sure that you're making a difference within yourself first and that your life is in order first before you start putting it out there. And so like they do work kind of together. So like the more you seem to get yourself together, your life together, then you're genuinely capable of really holding that service mindset. I really believe that we're all here to serve each other from this really squeaky clean, no agendaed place of just being who we are, showing up, being authentic. And by doing that, we are making a difference, right? And so that's something that, just being in the present moment allows us to be that. But if we're in the past or we're in the future or we're completely disconnected, we're not able to do that. So, this idea of just sinking and anchoring, into this terra firma place. But it's about also anchoring into you, who you really are. And so that allows you to navigate who you're not when that who you're not shows up in some way that is looking for something that you're believing that you need to feel accepted in this world. So that kind of thinking is the work that we're doing, right? So just catch yourself. What do I really want here? And just be really, really brutally honest with yourself. And you might find yourself feeling like you're hoping for some kind of acknowledgement, you're hoping for some kind of acceptance. And that's when I want you to sort of just dig in a bit deeper and really find a deeper truth. And what do you really want? And also looking at what are you afraid of? And looking at what you're afraid of really allows you to properly, in the right order, access your truth. What do you really want? So you kind of can't go to what you really want, so you actually know what you really don't want. So make sure that you're sitting with what you don't want so that you can see what you do want. And we can't actually be in the mindset of both of these ideals at the same time. It's either one or the other. They cannot coexist. So this is fear and truth. They cannot coexist. in that sense. So you're either thinking about what you're afraid of, or you're thinking about what you really want. Thinking being processing, thinking being processing. And so, but they cannot coexist, because one is based in duality and the other is based in polarity. Anyway, that's a bit of a side note, but yeah, it really makes a difference. So the next thing, I'm just looking at my notes here. The next thing that I want to look at is the connection to the narrative of our life, that part of us that is creating the story of our life, that is narrating and is regurgitating a story that maybe works for us, that maybe doesn't, or keeps us in an old story that doesn't allow us to evolve, because we really want to be evolving. So always do a little check-in on yourself and go, I notice I keep telling the same story. I keep reiterating the same information in some way or another. And that maybe that's time for you to really revisit that story and revisit with who you are today, not who you were when you manifested that story that's still influencing you, so that you can evolve your awareness of who you are now to bring that into the narrative of your life now. But you can't do it from a place of making shit up and claiming to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Give me a word. Over it, or it no longer affects you. Everything that we've ever experienced in our life and in life stories in all different time and space is influencing us. The only thing that can change is our perspective of it. But we are a product of everything that we've ever experienced and ever will experience and ever are experiencing, because time's an illusion. So the best thing we can do is work on our perspective and being very grounded and anchored and really connected to what's your truth right now? Where are you right now? What are you processing? What are you afraid of? What do you really want? It really gets simple like that. So because as I work with people, one of the things that I like to do is help them come out of an old narrative that really is holding them back, and to actually step into a renewed connection to who they are. And it's quite liberating. So this feeling at this level. So I want to explain where we're at as a group right now in the connection to the narrative of our life, and it just feels like it's almost like a lock system in a canal, and which is interesting because I live near the Trent Canal system, and it's like there's this the canal is waiting. It's dammed up. It's not opened up. And so there's this sense of waiting for the release of this energy into the canal, and that which allows, the boats that are here waiting to make this change. And so because it's showing up in this area, which has to do with the creation of our life, the narrator within us. And it also has to do with our emotional intelligence and our outer social intelligence showing up together, wrapped up in here together. So there's a building up. That's what it feels like. Not dammed up, but a building up of energy, just waiting for that wall to drop and all of this energy to flow. So it's a sense of feeling something building and waiting for that whoosh to happen. So it feels like it's an interesting feeling. It almost feels anticipatory. Imagine you're in a boat and you're in a canal system and you're waiting until, it fills up, and then it's able to transfer you to the next section. And it's like a transit point. Yeah. So All right, I think I'll leave it at that. So the next thing I'm looking at is that connection to the emotional heart center, kind of that soulfulness, where we also have, where also, there's that emotional intelligence and that outer social intelligence, which is generally where I pick up on that. But it was peeking through in the earlier connection point through the narrative of who we are. So at this level, there's something there's another piece that's coming through that's quite interesting. So it has to do with this sense of, imagine you're a cat, like a big cat, like a tiger or a lion, and you've got these, these beautiful paws, and you've got this ability to sort of pop out your nails, these beautiful curved nails, and it's almost an unconscious thing where they come out. It's almost, an autonomous thing. It's they can come out with intention, but they can also just kind of poke out. And this is what feels like happening in our emotional relationship, that we're just kind of, not in a threatening way, but it's instinctual. It's something at that core brain, that reptilian brain. And it's like, I want to take a deeper look at what is happening in this area of my life. And it's like trying to work something out, and it's just that those nails just keep popping out, and it's like using one to kind of poke away at something and try to figure it out. So you might be feeling quite instinctual. Again, that's moving into this area, this emotional body, and so just be with it, and it's okay. So because it's not in a threatening way, it's in more of a, I need to work this out. I need to figure something out. I need to figure out this person or this relationship or this part of my job and the relationships in there. Because it can show up in any level, right? Because we are going to show up in, with our emotional intelligence and our social intelligence everywhere. And also that soulfulness. So yeah, so this is really interesting. So the next piece is really about our mindset and where we're going. And it just, it's like we're prepping to make a shift, a mind shift, a mindset shift. And as I'm saying that, I'm feeling this beautiful sort of, Shen smile coming up from this area in the heart center, the thoracic inlet, coming right up into my face, this beautiful heart smile. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting today because it's like all of these different sort of listening stations are mingling together and sort of resting in different places where they're not normally. So it's a really interesting connection today to the group energy, and sort of like, where there's normally mental energy, there's emotional energy, and where there's normally mental energy, there's emotional energy, and it's all kind of like a double helix. Everything is just kind of blending and influencing together. I think that's why I was getting that message around be the change, be that influence. And so the next thing I have is really what I was talking about in the very beginning, about it's time for us to change an outworn way of how we communicate, what we are perceiving and experiencing in the big picture, but also in the very tiny details. This is a bit of what I refer to, and it's commonly known as eagle medicine, the view of the big condor, the big eagle, the big bird of prey, where they have this incredible vision to see the lay of the land, but also the little tiny mice running around on the ground, so they can go and swoop right down, or see that big grand picture. And so that's shifting and coming into new information. So as you look out at the big picture of your life, the big picture of even the world right now, also see the tiny details, and then just hold the intention to find a new way to communicate what you are experiencing and perceiving. And I would just suggest in that intention that you stay connected to your truth in that moment instead of your fear in that moment. So instead of what you're afraid of and where you're getting stuck in duality and right and wrong and judgment, and you move over into the polarity side where you have, you have these polarities from one side to the other, and somewhere in that space is where you feel in harmony with that information, and it just starts to make sense to you. So this is more about discernment and wisdom and experience coming into your perspective, and letting that be what you are communicating. Yeah. So that's the end of my message for today. And I hope that it helps you. I really sincerely hope that it helps you. And I'd love for you to comment and let me know that. And I never say this, but I'm going to subscribe to my channel. Be the first to get notified. Anyway, you take care and have a fabulous week. And enjoy that big perspective. All right. Cheerio. See you.